The former Mumbai Police Commissioner Param Bir Singh, who was transferred after the Sachin Waze episode, knocks on the doors of the Supreme Court against his transfer. Meanwhile, Sharad Pawar and the Shiv Sena dig in. There is no sign of the Maharashtra Chief Minister being replaced. India, the biggest producer and consumer of the AstraZeneca vaccine called Covishield here, changes its dosage guidelines. The second dose only after 6 to 8 weeks for enhanced protection, says the government. At almost 47,000 cases, the highest daily case number since the 12th of November. Just how bad is India's second wave? The R factor, which gauges its spread, is the highest in 11 months. A record number of 30,000 plus cases in Maharashtra, 11-day curfew in Nanded in Maharashtra, night curfews in 8 Rajasthan towns, more curbs in Punjab, and AIMS expert says cases in pockets are likely to spread soon. The Telangana government objects to what the Prime Minister had said about vaccine wastage. They've complained to Health Ministry officials. They've said our vaccine wastage is less than 1%, not 17% mentioned by the Prime Minister. On the election trail in Assam, Amit Shah says infiltration will surge if the Congress wins. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra says the BJP is working like the mafia in Assam. The appeal of a 4-year-old to his father, a terrorist in an encounter with forces, goes in vain. The army says other terrorists stopped the surrender of the man who wanted to return to his family. Top honours for Kangana at the National Film Awards. The former Mumbai Police Commissioner Param Bir Singh, who was transferred after the Sachin Waze episode, has knocked on the doors of the Supreme Court against his transfer. Mr. Singh's letter with explosive allegations against Maharashtra's Home Minister Anil Deshmukh rocked Parliament today. An MP from the BJP, which has been looking to unseat the Uddhav Thackeray-led alliance government, demanded President's rule in the state. Sena MPs hit back, saying there were serious allegations against Param Bir Singh as well.
Union ministers and BJP MPs targeting the Maharashtra ruling alliance led by the Shiv Sena.
छोटा-मोटा आरोप नहीं था, 100 करोड़ रुपया महीने की वसूली एक बहुत बड़े आरोप की बात थी.
Outside Parliament, the NCP dug in its heels with party chief Sharad Pawar defending fellow partyman and Maharashtra Home Minister Anil Deshmukh. Pawar showed hospital documents as proof to counter replaced Mumbai's police chief Param Bir Singh's sensational allegation that Deshmukh met Assistant Police Inspector API rank officer Sachin Waze and demanded extortion money from bars.
There is a record that Mr. Deshmukh was hospitalized and it is also certified by hospital. Secondly, she was discharged on 15th of February.
Pawar also says Param Bir Singh's so-called letter bomb is an attempt to divert attention from the actual case, in which gelatin sticks were planted in a car outside the Ambani residence. The Maharashtra police claims to have solved the murder of Mansukh Hiren, in whose car, which he had reported stolen, the gelatin sticks were found near Mukesh Ambani's residence. The state police suspended Mumbai cop Sachin Waze, being investigated by the centre's NIA for the car explosives, to be the main conspirator in the murder.
So just to divert this entire investigation, vague allegation has been made.
As Pawar backed his minister, BJP stepped up its attack on Anil Deshmukh, stating Pawar's defense of Anil Deshmukh was based on factually incorrect information. However, Pawar said that the letter by Param Bir Singh was a ploy to divert the attention from the Ambani bomb scare case. Pawar also said that there is no threat to the government in Maharashtra.
Soon the BJP, to call out Pawar's defense of Deshmukh, pulled out a press conference clip of Deshmukh's from the day of his release from hospital on 15 February.
15 फरवरी को मेरा जब डिस्चार्ज हो रहा था, तब मैं अस्पताल से घर में जाने के लिए जब अस्पताल के नीचे आया और अस्पताल के गेट के ऊपर काफी पत्रकार वहां पे खड़े थे, उनको मुझे कुछ सवाल पूछना था. मैं कोविड के वजह से मेरे में वीकनेस था, उसके वजह से मैं वहीं कुर्सी पे बैठ के उनके सवालों का जो आप देखें, गाड़ी में बैठ के होम क्वारंटाइन 27 फरवरी तक हो गया।
In a change of stand since Sunday, the Shiv Sena also seems to be backing Deshmukh for now.
महाविकास आघाड़ी की सरकार का बाल भी बाका नहीं होगा। आप कितने भी उछालो, आप कितने भी आरोप करो, आप कितनी भी केंद्रीय जांच एजेंसी को मुंबई महाराष्ट्र में भेज दो, लेकिन सरकार अपना कार्यकाल पूरा करेगी।
In Mumbai, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray held a series of meetings. Congress ministers Ashok Chavan and Balasaheb Thorat met Thackeray at his official residence. The ex-police chief Param Bir Singh has appealed to the Supreme Court to set aside his transfer, which he says was arbitrary and illegal. He also asked for a stay on any coercive action against him and seize CCTV footage from Anil Deshmukh's home.
Anil Deshmukh is likely to continue as Home Minister for now, and any decision on his removal will be Sharad Pawar's. The Shiv Sena believes that Param Bir Singh is now a pawn in the hands of the BJP, and the three parties together, sources say, have decided not to give in to the BJP's scare tactics. In Mumbai, with camera person Rajendra Dhalkar and Arvind Gunasekhar in Delhi, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
So just how bad is India's second wave? It's happened all of a sudden in just the last few weeks. The numbers have been, it needs to be said, fairly astounding, and that's a very worrying sign. Sonal Mehrotra Kapoor has the details.
All right, let's look at the numbers now and what is the story they are telling us at this point. Well, if you look at the second wave that you're talking about, incidentally on a day, just 1 year since we had the Thali event, remember, all of us were urged by the Prime Minister to go out and beat Thalis in order to praise the people, well, all the frontline workers. Well, just on that day anniversary, look at that. Our numbers are right here. Second wave, almost 47,000 today coming in. But how is it, say, compared to the rest of the world? Now, look at this graphic here. It gives you a very clear picture. This map tells you the percentage increase in cases that we are seeing across the world. Highest here coming in from, actually, look at that, Germany, 30% over here. Brazil increasing by 11%. India increasing by 67%. France actually on a decline at 13%, UK also on a decline at 5%, and US also has managed to sort of put some sort of curbs in and 1% only. But look at that, India rising the third highest in the world at this point. And why is that happening? Well, this R factor could actually tell you the reason why. Now, what is the R factor? R factor generally tells you, gives you a generic version of how quickly the virus is reproducing, or it's called actually the reproductive factor altogether. And it tells you how quickly it is spreading on an average number of people. It's if it's above 1%, it's up to be really high. If it's below 1%, it's said to be okay. At the moment, India at 1.32%, which is clearly a reason to be worried about. And then, if cases are to be looked at, deaths cannot be ignored at the moment as well. Look at that. Our deaths also are up at this point, highest since the 6th of January. That time we were around 230 over there. We've just crossed the 200 mark today as well. So clearly a lot's going on, and 6 key states, Vishnu, said to be a major area that needs to be worked on.
All right, so that's a real concern. But in all of this, there's an important new addition to the norms on which you should get the vaccination of Covishield. Remember, there is Covishield and there is Covaxin as well. Now, as far as Covishield, which accounts for the large number of vaccinations in this country, there's an increased interval between the first and second dose. You can actually get your second dose between 6 and 8 weeks, because the new research which the government now buys is that it is more effective if it is extended. But the big question that will be asked is this: will the available stock which the government now has, if a large number of people are getting their second dose later on, can that be used to vaccinate more citizens?
The government has just announced a major change in its vaccination program. India, which is the biggest producer and consumer of Covishield, also known as the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine, has increased the gap between the doses. The Union Health Ministry says that scientific evidence shows that the protection is enhanced if the second dose of Covishield is administered between 6 to 8 weeks, but no later than the stipulated period of 8 weeks. This also follows a Lancet study which said that a later second dose could increase the efficacy of the vaccine from 70% to nearly 80%. In UK and Canada, the dosage interval is even longer, from 3 to 4 months.
Just wait and see that as the people shift from one state to another, this will spread. Delhi as such was late getting the numbers. We got them. Gradually we are increasing. So there's nothing different. Everything doesn't strike at the same time and across the country. We are a huge country.
तर त्या दृष्टिकोनातून आपल्याला आणखीन पण तयारी करावून ठेवावी लागेल. त्यामुळे जेवढे काही आपले जम्बो सेंटर्स होते ते सगळ्या जम्बो सेंटर्सला सुद्धा आपण ऍक्टिव्हेट निश्चित प्रकारे.
The change in the dosage policy is going to allow a lot more people to get vaccinated with at least the first jab. Chief ministers as well as corporate leaders have been demanding that the government should allow all those above the age of 18 to get vaccinated. In New Delhi, this is Sukirti Dwivedi for NDTV.
The Uttarakhand Chief Minister Sushant Singh Rajput has tested positive for coronavirus. Taking to Twitter, the Chief Minister said that he's isolated himself as per norms and urged those who came in contact to get tested. Mr. Rajput recently replaced Trivendra Singh Rajput as Uttarakhand Chief Minister. Vaccine wastage is a huge concern in a country where there is a huge demand for more people to get the vaccine given the soaring numbers. But now the Telangana government has clarified to the centre that in fact, contrary to earlier reports, they aren't really wasting the vaccine at all.
Telangana has protested to the centre, pointing out that the Prime Minister and Union Health Secretary were wrong in calling out Telangana as one of the states with the highest vaccine wastage.
It's absolutely completely wrong. Actually, our wastage is less than 1%. That is actually 0.76% against 17% what Government of India has claimed. We come to an understanding that our wastage percentage is less than 1%, which is lowest COVID vaccine wastage in the country.
Last week, Prime Minister Narendra Modi had said Telangana, Andhra Pradesh and Uttar Pradesh reported over 10% wastage of COVID vaccine.
तेलंगाना और आंध्र प्रदेश में 10% से ज्यादा वैक्सीन वेस्टेज है. यूपी में भी वैक्सीन वेस्टेज करीब वैसा ही है.
Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan had said Telangana is in fact the worst offender, with 17% wastage against a national average of 7.5%. That is almost 2 for every 10 doses.
अनेक राज्य ऐसे हैं जो 6.5 से भी अधिक वेस्टेज कर रहे हैं. तेलंगाना में 17% से ज्यादा वैक्सीन वेस्टेज है.
Telangana Chief Secretary Sumesh Kumar has now written to the centre asking them to set the record straight. The centre has not yet responded to why there is such a big anomaly between the figures put out by the centre and those claimed by the state. Gross errors are a reason for worry in such a massive exercise of inoculation in which India is in fact a world leader. In Hyderabad with camera person Nagaraju, Uma Sudhir, NDTV.
As a rise in the COVID numbers, with the daily cases rising, there are new curbs in many states. Let's take a look. On the election trail in Assam, Home Minister Amit Shah has hit out at the Congress. He says, we worked for the development, whereas the Congress is forging an alliance with Badruddin Ajmal. If they come to power, infiltration in the state will surge.
एक और आप असम की अस्मिता की बात करते हैं और दूसरी ओर ये आधुनिक काला पहाड़ जानते हो ना? ये आधुनिक काला पहाड़ बदरुद्दीन अजमल को लेकर चलते हो. कैसे असम की अस्मिता की रक्षा करोगे भाई बताओ तो? क्या फिर से हम घुसपैठ का फ्लो चालू कराना चाहते हैं? ये कांग्रेस पार्टियों को शर्म आनी चाहिए बदरुद्दीन अजमल के साथ आते हुए.
In her response, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra said the BJP is not running a political party, they are working like the mafia in Assam.
ऐसे समझिए कि भाजपा असम में एक राजनीतिक पार्टी नहीं, एक माफिया जैसे चल रही है। वो ये भी नहीं तय कर पा रहे हैं कि उनका मुख्यमंत्री कौन बनेगा। असम भाजपा के दो गुट हैं। जैसे महाभारत में शकुनी मामा थे और धृतराष्ट्र थे, उसी तरह से आज असम की सरकार में भी एक शकुनी मामा समान नेता है और एक धृतराष्ट्र समान नेता है।
Amidst the raging gun battle, security forces brought a 4-year-old child to the encounter site in Shopia in Kashmir to persuade Aqib Ahmed Malik, his father, to surrender. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. Apparently, Malik did want to surrender, but other terrorists held him back.
A heart-wrenching appeal by a child to his militant father to surrender. The army says Aqib Ahmed Malik wanted to surrender but was stopped by other terrorists. The child's 25-year-old father, who turned to militancy just 3 months ago, was killed in the Shopia encounter along with 3 accomplices.
लेडी को आगे बढ़कर पहले सरेंडर अपील कराई है, उसके बाद उसके बच्चे को भी फैसिलिटेट किया है जो कि 4 साल का था कि शायद उसके कहने से वो वापस आएगा। अभी हमें ये पता लग रहा है कि आकिब तो वापस आना चाह रहा था, पर अंदर बैठे हुए 1-2 और जो थे उन्होंने उसको रोक लिया।
This video, apparently leaked by security forces, shows Malik's wife also making an emotional appeal to her husband in the midnight operation. Locals say Malik was a bank employee before he disappeared on the 20th of December. For the last few years, houses where terrorists have been cornered have been destroyed to flush them out or eliminate them. Last week, 7 residential houses were destroyed in Shopia during an encounter in which 2 terrorists were killed.
Police said 19 militants have been killed this year, even as giving a chance to militants to surrender remains part of their policy. Today's video showing heart-wrenching appeal by a 4-year-old child has gone viral. The question is, was it prudent for the security forces to bring a little child to the encounter site? In Srinagar, Nazir Masoodi, NDTV.
The long-delayed national awards for films released in 2019 were announced today in Delhi. Chichor, starring Sushant Singh Rajput, who died by suicide last year, won Best Hindi Film. Kangana Ranaut won her 4th national award for Best Actress for her work in the films Manikarnika and Panga. The Malayalam language Marakkar Arabikara Linte Simham won Best Film. It also picked up the award for Best Special Effects. The national award for Best Actor was shared by Manoj Bajpayee for his performance in Honsle and Dhanush, for Asuran, which also won the Best Tamil Film. Vijay Sethupathi won the Best Supporting Actor for Super Deluxe, and Pallavi Joshi was awarded Best Supporting Actress for the Tashkent Files.